Asafo Show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality. Here, we present views from a wide variety of sources. And now, let's begin.
A wind of destruction is blowing over this land. And now the earth is trembling with man's oppression of man. Now the time comes to sit down and rediscover what's life. Show the world the true meaning of real love, power, not strife.
And now, our African pledge by our Chief Jugna, H. Uya Asan Anu.
We are an African people. We will remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors. We will honor the struggles of our elders. We will strive to bring new values and new life to our people. We will have peace and harmony among us. We will be loving, sharing, and creative. We will work, study, and listen so we may learn. Learn so we may teach. We will cultivate self-reliance. We will struggle to resurrect and unify our homeland. We will raise many children for our nation. We will have discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will live as models to provide new directions for our people. We will be free and self-determining. We are an African people, and we will win, and we will win, and we will win. Ashe.
Hotep, Ikaro, and Ashe. Greetings to all. This is the Anu Asafo Show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality with your host, Sister Omilade, Brother Eshulo Khan, and me, Brother Wole Mango Ifa. And this week we're pleased to have another fascinating and exciting episode of the show lined up for you. And we want to thank you for your attendance this week with this Enlightenment Transformation Network program where we present a variety of views, but personally endorse none of them, leaving you, the online audience, the opportunity to make up your own mind about things. Sister Omilade, how are you doing this week?
I am doing well, Wole. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there. It's kind of dreary down here in New Orleans today. But, my spirit is bright. My spirit is bright. And we got the brother of the month, Brother Eshu Khan. How you doing, brother?
Oh, man, I'm blessed, man. I'm feeling very good. Happy to be here. I have no complaints. Everything is good.
And if there's anybody I should call Baba, it is you. How are those kids doing?
They are growing. They are definitely growing and multiplying as we speak. Both of them done in the multiplication process and just working on the growth process.
Ashe. Well, that's great. That's fantastic. For you all that don't know, my brother is very fruitful and is multiplying constantly. So we thank you. We thank you for that wealth from the spirits, the energies. Today we have a fascinating show. In our last segment, we're going to have an author he's a man of the cloth. He's the Reverend James Lamb. He's from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. He has a book out called Black, and it's a semi-autobiographical treatise, text manual, if you will, for those younger people who are willing to come behind, and younger or older, who are willing to come behind, read his story, and gain from it. See how much it is similar to our own stories, but then the unique parts of it too. We all have stories to teach and tell, and this brother, the Reverend James Lamb, definitely has some stories to tell. But before we do that, Sister Omilade, want to let us know about our programming, our other programming?
Sure. So this week we have a segment by one of our fellow Umfundi, Tamu Ngina, Your Vital Energy. So we're going to get into that right now. Hopefully we'll allow you to get into a meditative state and, just enjoy the rest of our show. So we're going to get into Your Vital Energy.
Greetings, peace, and joy, and thank you for joining me for another segment of Your Vital Energy. It is spring in the Northern Hemisphere, and I am here to tell you I am so thankful that spring is here, and rebirth and life is on a continuous flow. And in light of it being spring, and for the sake of that age-old ritual of spring cleaning, I'd like to share with you today some ideas to help to make your home toxic-free. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to take a moment, bring your hands together at your heart in the Gasho or Namaste position, to take a breath of gratitude, inhale and exhale, and I give you this meditation to start our segment. With every breath I take, I vow to be awake. With every step I take, I vow to take with gratitude. So may I see with eyes of love into the hearts of all I meet, to ease their burden when I can, and touch them with a smile of peace. May it be so. So, it is spring. It is spring. Hallelujah, it is spring, and I am so happy. I want to share with you a couple of ideas to replace in your home toxic cleansers, toxic cleaners. Most are not aware that a lot of the cleaners, basic cleaners that they have in their homes, are causing them to have dis-ease and ill health. Cleaners that we all grew up on, such as bleach, even Windex, even our dish detergent, are created with cleaners that are with chemicals that are not healthy for our environment and not healthy for our bodies. All sorts of issues can crop up from using basic everyday cleaners that we grew up on, that we're used to purchasing, breathing issues, skin rashes, cloudy thinking, dizziness, all sorts of things can happen from using these cleaners. And when we're used to using them so long, we're probably so used to the symptoms that crop up when we are using the cleaners, or even a couple of days after using the cleaners, that we're not even aware of them. But what I would like to share with you some alternatives that are not only safer for the environment outside of your home, safer for the environment inside of your home, safer for your body, your physiology, but they're also better in your pocketbook. The everyday cleaners, household products that I like to share with you that are really good for cleaning, there are about 5 of them. 1 is baking soda. 2 is hydrogen peroxide. 3, white vinegar, white distilled vinegar. 4, Castile soap. And 5, essential oils such as tea tree oil and even peppermint and lavender. They are disinfectants, antibacterials, antivirals. Now, when I use the term antibacterials, the tea tree oils, these are natural products to help get rid of bacteria. Antibacterial hand soaps that you buy in the store are not really safe for the environment because what they do is they're constantly killing off bacteria that our bodies are not able to create their own resistance to. They're also killing off bacteria, but these bacteria do not completely die. They end up becoming more resistant. And, antibiotics, antibacterials are not things that you want to use, constantly and all the time because they can help to contribute to creating superbugs. Baking soda is a wonderful non-abrasive cleanser. You can use baking soda in your bathtub, on your kitchen counter. You can even use it in Teflon pans, although you probably shouldn't be using Teflon pans, but in case you do have that in your kitchen, baking soda is a non-abrasive cleanser that you can use on just about any surface. And I use, personally, I use baking soda and I use hydrogen peroxide and Castile soap. Hydrogen peroxide is great to mix with water. If you're using 3% hydrogen peroxide, you can use that in a spray bottle on its own. I prefer to purchase from a farm and animal feed store 35% hydrogen peroxide. Now, this stuff is really strong. You really do not want to have it touch your skin. You want to mix it with water, say 1 quart of water and 1 to 2 tablespoons of 35% hydrogen peroxide put into a spray bottle is a great spritzer to constantly wipe down your countertops instead of using chlorine bleach, which is extremely damaging to the environment as well as your body. A recipe for an all-purpose natural disinfectant cleaner is 2 cups of distilled water, 1.5 teaspoons to 3 teaspoons of Castile soap, and 1 teaspoon of tea tree oil. Put this into a spray bottle, and you are good to go. You just want to make sure that you shake up the bottle each time you use it so that you get the natural essential oils in there to mix up. A great rust remover product, instead of buying, Rust Away or Lime Away, is lime and salt. You can use white table salt to do your cleaning with. Do not use white table salt to eat. We'll cover that in another segment. And kosher salt is another great salt to use. Mix lime and salt together and clean whatever rust items that you're dealing with. A great glass cleaner is 1/4 cup of white vinegar and 1 quart of warm water in a spray bottle, and clean that glass. When I clean my bathtub out, I use I use baking soda and I use Castile soap. I basically shake the baking soda into the tub, sink the same way I would if I was using Ajax or Comet. You know, if you grew up in the 70s and 60s and 80s, you know about Ajax and Comet. And the baking soda and the Castile soap, put it in the tub, get out your sponge or your scrub or your towel and just scrub around. And it's really great, especially if you have a fiberglass bathtub and you want to make sure that you're not scratching it. And it's non-toxic, and it's really good. And another thing, baking soda is really good for putting in your bath water because it helps to soften your skin. It's completely natural, it's non-toxic, and it also helps to bring out toxins in your body. It's a good detoxer to put baking soda in your bath water. Again, that would be for another segment. We're talking about your environment in your home and household cleaning products that you can replace that are natural, environmentally friendly, and safe for your entire family. And I'll give you that list once again: baking soda, peroxide, white vinegar, Castile soap, and tea tree oil. And I just wanted to share that with you, and I wish you all the best in your spring cleaning and opening up your windows and allowing fresh air to come into your home and to reinvigorate you and get you ready for a beautiful spring. Thank you so much for joining me today on this segment of Your Vital Energy. I'd like to thank saduluhouse.org and anunation.org for allowing me to share this segment with you. And as we end, I would like to thank you very much for joining me, and I would like to leave you with another meditation. May the world be at peace. May we all have an open heart. May we all know the beauty of our nature. May we all be healed. May we all serve as a gift of peace to each other. May it be so. This is your host, Tamu Ngina. Thank you for joining me. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/MendSoul. That's M as in Mary, E, N as in Nancy, D as in Diamond, SOUL, Mend Soul. Thank you.
Well, that was one of our fellow Umfundi, Tamu Ngina, with Your Vital Energy, giving us some great information and tips on cleaning products that we could use this spring. We are now going to go into a break before we come back with our next segment.
For all those in the Manhattan area, please check out our Chief Jegna, H. Yuya Asan Anu, at Integral Yoga on Sunday, April 13th from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m., where he will be hosting a workshop on self-actualization with the cosmic forces of West Africa. In this workshop, you will learn how to self-actualize through the universal energies that govern the laws and character of the cosmos. This workshop is a continuation of the Unleashing of Cosmic Forces of West Africa series that is currently being enjoyed by thousands of listeners on Chief Yuya's popular Blog Talk radio show, Enlightenment and Transformation. The workshop is Sunday, April 13th from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Integral Yoga, which is located at 227 West 13th Street, New York, New York. The cost of this event is $25. Be prepared to change your life through aligning your spiritual faculties with their corresponding cosmic archetypes. RSVP at www.meetup.com/African-spirit-workers to meet Chief Jugna H. Uya Asan Anu at Integral Yoga on Sunday, April 13th from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Integral Yoga is located at 227 West 13th Street, New York, New York. If you attend the workshop Self-Actualization with the Cosmic Forces of West Africa, you will receive 50% off classes and discounts on our books and products. Once again, RSVP at www.meetup.com/African-spirit-workers. See you at Integral Yoga Institute for the workshop Self-Actualization with the Cosmic Forces of West Africa.
Greetings, and we're back. So the next segment is going to be led by our co-host, Eshu Lokan. Eshu Lokan, can you take it from here?
Sure, I'll be pleased. Thank you. The segment I'm going to do is kind of something that I've learned going through African spirituality and learning and gaining knowledge from it. And it's the importance of doing things in the correct order. Before I get started, I'd like to give thanks first to my Ori, my destiny, my head. I also like to give thanks and honor to my elders and my Egun, my ancestors, those that continue to give me wisdom and guidance. And I also like to thank the different Orisha and Orumile that help me and assist me in my destiny. What I'm going to talk about is a certain order of things that I've learned, especially dealing with African spiritual systems. And it's very important to do so. And I can admit that when I first got into African spirituality, I was doing things incorrectly and kind of out of order. When I just gave thanks, I gave thanks to my Ori, gave thanks to my Egun, and then Orisha. When I first learned about African spirituality, I went straight to Orisha. I was just so excited just to learn new knowledge that I wanted to know about every Orisha, and I just went in, so to speak, learning about Orisha. And, going that way, it taught me a lot of different things. My life was kind of in chaos at the time as I was learning, but at the same time gaining knowledge. So I like to talk about those three things. I like to talk about Ori, Egun, and Orisha. Coming into the new nation, the Jagna, Chief Jagna Heruya Asanu, always stressed the importance of your Ori, yourself. It always starts with self. With anything you do, especially spirituality, you always have to start with yourself. You have to master yourself. And that is very, very important a thing to do. And I would like to read an insert from his book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. If you have it, you could just flip to page 43. And it says, your Ori holds the portion of divinity and destiny that you were appropriated in Orun, which is heaven, prior to your arrival here in Aye, which is earth. It is your individual ration of the supreme consciousness that maintains the motion of the universe. It is commonly stated in regards to Ori that it is the container for a person's destiny, and that destiny is predetermined in Orun. Just reading that, your Ori holds your destiny, your purpose. And the way I feel, your purpose and your destiny here on Earth is the most important task that you have to know first, which I didn't do. I can admit that. I went straight to Orisha. After learning that, learning about myself and studying myself, still learning many things about myself, it just made perfect sense and you can see yourself within the universe. You can see things you like, things you don't like. You can see your strengths. You can see your weaknesses, things you need to work on. So it's very important to always start with self first. Knowledge of self, be a master of yourself. And then it comes down to your ego, your ancestors, your elders. Those that came here before you, many elders always say it is the Egon's shoulders that we stand upon. That means they're the foundation. They're the reason that we are here. They're the reason that we get to enjoy some of the benefits that they put on the planet. Some of the things we're basically their answered prayers. Things that we get to enjoy on a day-to-day, they may not have got to enjoy. So it is very important to always venerate and honor and acknowledge your ancestors and go to them for guidance. I was blessed to live in the village of Umfundi in South Carolina for about 5 weeks, where I learned that the most, the importance of ancestor veneration. And I like to big up all the priests and priestesses there that helped me and led me and guided me, especially one of the chiefs there, Chief Eliaton. He taught me so much about the importance of ancestral worship. Cause when I first got there, I'm just young in the game. I'm wide open. I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm an Omo SU, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm learning about this and different types of energies. And he's like, oh, hold up, wait up. You got to first, you got to venerate and go to your ego. What are you doing for your ancestors? And I was like, I got stuck because that wasn't really my focus. I was straight on Orisha. So big up to Chief Eliaton, and also the Obade Funi, the second as well, for teaching me the importance of that. So it's your Ori, then your Egun, always honor and respect your Egun, set up an altar, that's why I learned how to set up an altar and, give offerings and definitely commune and get to know your Egun. Then it comes to Orisha. Orisha, those that don't know what Orisha is basically the different types of forces of nature, so to speak. And they're here to assist us in our destiny and to help us along the way. And it's very important when you're dealing with those different types of spirits is that you get the proper guidance in doing so, because you can cause some conflicts and things in your life that you may not even know about. So always ask questions, ask many questions before you go about doing certain things. So that's very important. And, living, I guess you could call it Orisha lifestyle or, African spiritual lifestyle that I live. For me, it has taught me so many different things, and it's given me a different lens to see, how to interact within, especially my household. The Orisha that governs my head is Eshu, and those that know about Eshu is the communicator, the door opener, so to speak. He's the keeper of the crossroads, keeper of, Ashe. And you can do your research on the spirit of Eshu. But that's my head Orisha. And all my family, we have, we have Orisha that govern our head. So I know how to interact and effectively, take care of my family, knowing that knowledge. Good example, my wife, my queen, her governing Orisha is Oya. And Oya represents, transformation and the wind. So knowing that in my wife, I'm always prepared to either move or, change something around in the house. She definitely embodies that certain spirit. And all of my children have that have certain spirits, especially my son, his name is Jabari, but the Orisha name we gave him, what was given to us was Ogunbeni. which represents, which means Ogun. Ogun favors me, and Ogun. Those that know, Ogun is a warrior energy that deals with technology and deals with iron, and my son definitely embodies that. Like, he's always either building with his Legos or always trying to get on my phone or on the Kindle Fire, and he's definitely very technical. So it's just good to get an understanding of different spirits and, put them into use to how to, commune and effectively, lead and guide my family with the energy in my home. Being a man in my home, I have to lead to the best of my ability in my house. And first, in order to, go out within the community, I have to get my house in order first. And living a Risha lifestyle and learning different African spiritual systems has helped me done that. So that's my little spiel. It's very important to get those things in order, especially when you're learning new things. Knowledge of self is very important. Do that first. Start with Ori. Then go to your elders, your Egun, and then your Orisha. So that's my spill. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you, Eshu Khan, for that. So informative. So we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to come back with our guest for this Sunday. So stay tuned.
Please join us as the Sadulu House Spiritual Center exhibits at the Mind, Body, and Spirit Expo, which is the largest holistic and spiritual expo in the tri-state area, on May 2nd through May 4th at the Garden State Exhibit Center in Somerset, New Jersey, located at 50 Somerset Drive in Somerset, New Jersey. At this 3-day event, you will have access to national and international exhibitors and speakers, including our very own master teacher, author, spiritual guide, and chief Jegna of the Sadulu House Spiritual Center, H. Yuya Asan Anu. H. Yuya Asan Anu will take participants of the lecture through various steps which will attune each individual in attendance to their own unique genius, source frequency, and improve the quality of their life. The lecture will take place Saturday, May 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the room General 2 at the Garden State Exhibit Center, and it is free to attend this lecture. Please visit www.mindbodyspiritexpo.com and click the link for speakers and lectures for more information. We also urge you to check out the exhibition at the Mind, Body, and Soul Expo, as the Sadulu House Spiritual Center will be exhibiting its products and services all 3 days. The Sadulu House Spiritual Center exhibition booth will include discounted classes, spiritual consultations, spiritual tools and divination supplies, books, DVDs, and more. Our booth location number is A10A. If you decide to come to the expo, you will also have access to free lectures, 3 days of free yoga classes, workshops, natural products, holistic health products, live entertainment, including music, drumming, chanting, and more. The Mind, Body, and Spirit Expo is May 2nd from 4 to 9 p.m., May 3rd from 10 to 8 p.m., May 4th from 10 to 6 p.m., and is located at the Garden State Exhibition Center at 50 Atrium Drive, Somerset, New Jersey, 08873. The cost is $5 to enter on Friday and $15 to enter on Saturday and Sunday. There are discounts available. So for more details and to RSVP for the exhibition and lecture, please visit www.meetup.com/African-spirit-workers. See you there.
Hey, so this is Omila Day, and as you can see, we have a lot of events happening at the Anu Nation. If you would like to know more about what's going on or sign up for our newsletter, please check out www.enlightenmentandtransformation.com or www.anunation.org. Okay, Wole, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sounds like an excellent idea to get in touch with those people and to turn it over to me. Thank you, Sister Omila. It's 35 minutes after the hour, and you're with the Anu Asafo Show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality. This week with your co-host, Brother Ashulo Khan, Sister Omila Day, as usual, and me, Brother Wole Mango Ifa. And this week we're obliged to have, we have an interesting person to our guest. This person isn't a practitioner in the community, as most of our guests usually are. But he has written a provocative semi-autobiographical book asking some serious questions to our community and about our community. And to me, he is just about ready. I think we have the answers to many of the questions his book poses, but we want to bring him on and talk to him and let him spread some of his wisdom with us. His name is the Reverend James Lamb. Reverend Lamb, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the Anu Asafo Show.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you.
Well, excellent. Let's give the audience a little bit of a better background information on you than I gave. I understand, first of all, you're in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Please tell us a little bit about your recent travel to where you stand today, and then we'll go talk about the book, which will bring us into talking about more of your life.
Yes, well, I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut, and I spent some time in California and migrated to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where I work as a clinical supervisor over an alcohol and drug program for the Department of Correction here in Arkansas. Earlier in my life, I was involved in drug use, alcoholism, errant lifestyle, and found myself incarcerated many times. Went into the church, had several spiritual experiences, had out-of-the-body experiences, encounters with angels, demons, and yet there was a search in my heart for where we as a people stood in terms of history. So that's a brief overview of my life and my purpose.
Ashe, and it sounds already like you're in the right place. You're in the right place because we have dealt with issues of spirituality and issues of the community. So let's talk about what you did about it. You've done several things. Today you're a minister, but you've written this book, and it's called Black. And not only is the title provocative, but the things you talk about in it are most provocative. Let's talk about Black. How would you describe the book first, and let's take it from there.
Well, Black is an overall epic journey from the inception of African kingdoms such as Kemet, commonly known as Egypt, Songhai, Mali, and Ghana, to give us a more expansive and particular view of what our cultures were like, how civilization evolved, the genesis of all sciences and spirituality and things of that nature, right up through and to today, through slavery right to today, and the challenges that we face as Africans here in America.
Shay, it seems like the work we are doing in the African traditional spiritual community is a continuation of the work our and tradition of our ancestors as best as we have been able to maintain them through enslavement, Jim Crow, and now I don't know what you call this that we're living in, but it will be called historically. I don't know if it'll be the rise of the gay age. I don't know if it'll be seen more as something doing with diversity, multiculturalism, but it is a post-Jim Crow, some people want to call it a post-racial era, and so many people ready to move on to that, and we seem like we never really gotten a good understanding of who we are, what we've lost through the enslavement. We all know, I don't want to get on a rant, but we all know about the Holocaust, which is World War II German history. We all know about Hitler, whether if we're literate or not, but we don't know about American history. And whether we like it or not, the enslavement is not just African-American history. It was all of American history because this place is built on it. So, but it sounds like when you talk about Songhai, Ghana, and the empires of West Africa, the major ones, and then you talk about the Middle Passage and the African-American story, it seems like we're the group. At the time you wrote the book, were you aware of Ifa and Orisha practitioners to the degree that you may be today?
No, I wasn't, and I'm still not really proficient in those areas. I've been in discussions about that subject, but no, I haven't furthered my study of that area. Well,
hopefully it can be a continuing learning experience as both. So before we get into some of your background story, which you recount in the book Black, let's tell audience, first of all, where you can be contacted and how they can get a hold of the book. And then we'll talk and come back and tell them about your contact information some more, okay?
All right. You can contact me at AmenRa7 at sbcglobal.net. I also have a Facebook page. My name is James Lamb. I can be found on Facebook. I have a web page, which is recovery4me.com. That's recovery4me.com.
Recovery4me. That's M-E.
Yes, .com.
That's the .com. Okay, you're at James Lamb on Facebook. And what was that first address, please?
My first email address is AmenRa7, AMENRA, the number 7, at sbcglobal.net. SBC Global.net. Okay, global.net. Okay, we got that together. And is there a certain online location where people can order the book? Yes, you can obtain the book from, there are links on my website, and also you can obtain the book from Author House or Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. These are the three prominent major places where you can obtain the book.
Fantastic. May I ask, is it self-published?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Are you going through Lightning Press by chance, or
I went through Author House. I am looking for a publisher. Mm-hmm. I'm going to the National Black Writers Association meeting in October, and at Houston, where there'll be authors and a number of publishers there from all around the country. And I hope to make contact with with a publisher who will publish the book.
Ashe. Well, all the best with that. Now, let's talk First, how closely does the book coincide with your life? Is it an autobiography, just straight and straight, or just parts and pieces?
Well, the very first part of the book is an autobiographical piece, which is about 20 pages long. It just tells a little bit about my life, and then we go into the subject matter of the word black itself and the thousands of ways in which it is used negatively in the English language, and that's because that conversation has been going on before we were born into the world. So before we even knew what those words meant, we heard them, and those are definitions by another people. And the power that is real power is to define reality and have other people accept it as your own. One of the reasons why our young people still use the N-word is that we have adopted the word that is a derogatory word about ourselves, and it's a definition used by Europeans and whites, and we have accepted it as if it's our own. So the book is very explorative when it comes to that word. And then there's a conversation that I had with an African-American man who declared he was not an African, that he was an American. And from there, it just expounds on what it means to be black. And to offset that, you go into the African kingdoms to show how everything in Western culture had its origin with us as Africans, because it's especially important for us to know it, to be able to transmit that information to our children. That's why it's a compendium of knowledge, a knowledge base that travels all the way through history to the present day.
I say, that's very intriguing. Do you interact with many of the youngsters? I understand you live in the Pine Bluff area now. Pine Bluff, I wanted to have a little bit more written documentation on the area, but it's a historically African-American town, from the best of my knowledge. Historically a wealthy town. Times have changed, industries have changed, but today it finds itself a prison community, a community that fuels a big prison complex. And many of the schools I understand have changed from being open window academies to more closed down and resembling the interaction, the working of the prison system. So the prison system is having an influence on the town's culture as opposed to vice versa. Or I understand, do you work with that prison system, Reverend?
I work in the prison system. I also, as a part of my ministry, buy books for prisoners and start study programs. I spend approximately $1,100 every year buying books for inmates, all kinds of books, self-help books, my books, African history books, anything I can do to help them create in the prison system an educational system. If we could turn the prison system into an educational system, as many individuals I know have done, if we could do that in mass, they would stop locking us up like that.
We're in 100% agreement. I've been saying that for a while. On that note, let me give you a text to please add to your list. And I'm glad I see we're speaking to the right person here more than any, because you're actually interacting with some of the young people and older people who are incarcerated. A text to get them is called Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Grasping the Root of Divine Power.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Written by a person called Yuya. That's Yuya. Yuya H. Asan, and Asan is capital ASSAN. AAN hyphen capital A capital N capital U. Yuya Hassan Anu.
All right, I'll Google that to see if I can obtain that text.
Excellent text. He happens to be the chief teacher of the spiritual order which produces the show. But that aside, I can say personally, excellent text, especially for an introductory audience. It's a text that can help people start getting themselves together personally and learn a way of tapping into the energy of the universe through a divination method called Ovi. And it's simply written, easily read, and only over 100 pages or so. So just wanted to throw that in. So Pine Bluff, you are right there dealing with the people who many times who have taken some wrong steps and questionable steps, sometimes not so questionable, just got caught up in the wrong thing, and here they find themselves. How can people bounce back from that, Reverend? How can they bounce back from, you're incarcerated, or you may have been incarcerated. You may be facing incarceration. In the event of incarceration and conviction and you're out, what can you do to rebuild?
Well, I personally have been involved in helping young men come out. I have contacts with employers who will employ them after they come out. I just recently helped a young man get a job at U.S. Steel to a brother who was previously incarcerated and worked for them. So we're networking with one another, and whenever an opportunity becomes available, we take advantage of it. We're trying to develop a mindset whereby we help one another so that whatever information is available in the community can be funneled into a compendium of knowledge to help those that are incarcerated. There are other programs that I have access to that I put young men into to also assist them after they come out of prison.
I see. Well, tell me, do you find that many times the communities that these people are returning to also need help preparing to re-embrace these people who have caused probably, problems in their own communities before they left and went to jail? Now they're looking at getting them back, and sometimes the energies of all the people, are not so positive.
Well, that's one of the reasons I wrote the book Black, because we are in a situation where war has been declared on us. We're facing economic, spiritual warfare, and unless you can actually see what's happening to you, you see the world through your mind. You don't see it through your eyes. And this is one of the reasons why we need a new way of thinking. So as you look at what has happened to us and the systems that they use, the incarceration system is nothing more than the new Jim Crow. It's just a new way of incarcerating us. And here in Arkansas, they don't make any money at all. They get $6 a year. In some prisons, you can make a little money, but it's the new slavery. So the community, to speak more directly to your question, the community is separated from what's actually happening to its young people. We're not aware of this system that is en masse. We're not aware of this system of from school to prison. And the only organization that we have in general that speaks to all of us every week is the church. That's one of the reasons why in the book Black, I question a lot of the architecture of the church, a lot of the philosophy of the church, a lot of our attachment to somebody else's culture and somebody else's history, and us as Africans having a long history, and yet Abraham is our father. I question a lot of these ideas that 3 million people came out of Africa, and that would mean those people would have had to have 66 children each for each individual that went down into Africa originally, according to those texts. I question our association with the belief that the writings of other people are actually literally the words of God. I challenge those belief systems so that we can begin to reconstruct a new form of religion or spirituality that serves us as a community.
Ashe, teach it, brother. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you 100%. Down here in New Orleans, we're doing an experiment in charter schools, and there are a lot of homeschooling centers and people actually trying to homeschool their kids themselves individually. But and there is a mentor of our mentor, a Baba by the name of Mulimu Bomani Baruti. He's in Atlanta, and he has been a guest on the show. He's an expert dealing with. He used to work as a professor at Morehouse University, Morehouse College, where Dr. King went to school, undergrad. And he worked there for 10 years before he and his wife, both professors there, started setting up their own thing. And they do that now in Atlanta, and I'm bringing that up to say it sounds like we're all trying to do very similar things, and perhaps we need to compare and contrast our notes. He's a person, I want to give you his contact information. He can be gotten on Facebook as well. And what you're talking about, it's very intriguing, especially that first part I wanted to go back to, where you talked about rehabilitation. They used to say they had an obligation, they were putting people in those jail cells to rehabilitate them. And God knows the way the education system has gone, has been administered to us historically, there's room for more training. So if we have people and they are and they're locked up, for lack of a better word, and they're supposed to be being rehabilitated, maybe they can learn some things they didn't learn out here on the outside. So this should be a great growth industry, actually, for educators. And go ahead.
Yes, I wrote 2 other books. These were primarily focused on showing people how to use their mental abilities to have a better life, to learn how to make use of the laws of the universe. It's called The Power to Change. And another book, it's called The Revelation of Power, which also shows you how to use your mental and spiritual power to achieve success in your life and your community life and your family life. So these are 2 other books that speak to what you're talking about. And yes, I do believe that there is a move among us all to change this environment, this reality that we're in, that has been holding us hostage and in slavery mentally. And we're beginning to chip away at this. And if this movement is taking on momentum across the country, I see it all over Facebook. I'm encountering in different people that I run into. More and more people are engaging and questioning the reality that we have with these outcomes that we have, especially with our youth and our communities. So I'm in perfect agreement. I appreciate any contact you can give me to help accelerate this process, any type of collaboration that I can be involved in. I applaud your efforts, and I appreciate the opportunity to network with you.
Ashe, and of course we applaud you and the efforts you're making. Now, that first book was called The Power to Change, right? And what was that second book of yours?
It's called The Revelation of Power.
The Revelation of Power. Okay. Excellent. Yes. The notion of sharing information, working together, that's what it's all about. Many times I'm finding that in the information age and with the internet and particularly things like Facebook, everybody is a producer if they want to be. And so everybody's getting their little energy out, their exasperation out. Many times they get it out by just, blowing wind into the air, screaming into the noise, and they get drowned out by all those other voices out there. And many times it's like it's disassociative. We're not working together. We are individuals behind the computer, all how do you say, invisible to each other,
Yeah.
So, yes, the working together thing is of powerful importance. So you were telling us about rebuilding. You were telling us about rebuilding after we had started talking about the potential of getting those private prisons to really do some rehabilitation. And then we had been talking about rehabilitation after conviction. How does one bounce back from that? Here, our chief Jegna, our chief teacher, Ayuya Asana, the one with the Grasping the Roots of Divine Power book, he also has a book out talking about dysfunctional families. And, with the substance abuse thing that you have a specialization in, many times looking from the African holistic point of view of diagnosing situations, it's more than just somebody smoking too much or drinking too much. It's some deeper meaning, some different reasons, some deeper reasons somewhere else that's manifesting itself through their behavior over here. And I just got the book from Dr. Africa, who was another guest on the show. And it's a holistic self-diagnosis book, talking all about that. With your dealing with people and their substance abuse, you must have come across a whole bunch of different experiences. Does the system that you practice allow you to be more holistic, or is it just more or less identifying the issue, diagnosing it, pushing a pill at it, or something like that? Or can you, learn about the patient in a more full way and help them deal with the culture of their life, the lifestyle they're living?
Well, I fortunately have the book that I wrote became a standard teaching modality throughout the state of Arkansas for quite some time. And as time moved on, other modalities of teaching entered in for whatever reason, particular people wanted their own methods. But I still teach it, and I believe that everything evolves out of the mind. The world is mind. Everything around you was once a thought in somebody's mind before it became physical reality. And so I deal a lot with the mind and showing young men how to utilize the power of their mind and their thought to create their life. I have 4 principles: your thinking, your action, your behavior, and consequences. And with those 4 things, you examine your life and different steps that you made based on the fact that in my opinion, the predominant law that operates in the earth is reciprocity, or you reap what you sow. So that as the person thinks a certain way, acts a certain way, and behaves a certain way, they bring about consequences. And I try to teach them how to garner the power of their own mind. And I also talk about, even though I'm not supposed to talk about spirituality, but I do anyway. You're not supposed to talk about subjects of God or Christianity or any other religion. But I have another way of doing that, which is talking about the response of the universe. So I broach subjects like you're always praying, you cannot not pray, because we live in an era of reciprocity. So whatever comes out of you comes back to you multiplied. In a sense, you are always asking the universe in terms of what you think, how you act, and how you behave for a response, and you do get a response. So you can never stop praying or asking and receiving. So there's techniques like this that I teach that have been very beneficial for young men. And my ultimate goal through producing these books is to raise enough money to start a program of my own, which would deal with a more holistic approach, job creation, social interaction, young men taking karate classes, the whole 9 yards, teaching them how to live, teaching them how to interact with women. And that's an offshoot of a program I went through and stayed for 5 years, which was, although it wasn't oriented religiously, it gave me the foundation of understanding how the whole person has to be dealt with in order to have them be a functional individual in the community.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I got stuck on mute. Yes. Sounds very forward thinking. Sounds like there's a lot of things that you are doing that we are looking to do, and we have a common denominator between us. And she was also very instrumental in getting us together for this interview. We know her as Sister Kimberly.
Beautiful sister.
Yes, I believe it's Strickland. And
yes.
Very, very conscientious, very hardworking, and very thoughtful.
I can't say enough about her. My first encounter with her on a panel discussion, she said something that made me reevaluate everything that I thought about everything. In just a few moments, I had to run it through everything I knew. It was so profound and so moving spiritually and intellectually. I mean, she's a profound sister and woman, mother. I couldn't say enough about her.
I say. Yeah, I think she's one of the gifts that Pine Bluff has. You know, I don't know how much they know it or not, but she's one for the future, and she's doing some things right now. And I'm hoping that we all can reach out together through you and Sister Kimberly. And this is just coming off the top of my head, but I'm willing to do it. And if you are and Sister Kimberly is, and we can get some other people together who I know would be interested in what you're doing, I'm sure that we should be able to do some kind of cultural sharing. You know, some kind of sharing program where we, where we are sharing what we've learned with you and vice versa.
She has spoken to me about that before. That's one of the reasons why I believe she contacted me about this program. I'm perfectly willing, like I said before, to collaborate or do anything that will foster and further the resurrection of our people. I'm not sure how that would work. I'm involved in doing a lot of traveling this year to promote my book. I'm going to St. Louis next week. Brother Umar Johnson will be speaking in St. Louis. I'll be there. And I perhaps may come your way if there's a prominent speaker who's going to be in your area. I'd certainly like to travel down there and be a part of that presentation.
Well, I hear that Brother Umar is supposed to be coming down here soon, within a week or two. I saw that somewhere, but I won't put my, I wouldn't testify to it, but he should be back down soon. He was very successful down here with a speech he gave last year. So
if he's there, I'll be there.
Well, cool. If you were there, through Sister Kimberly, why don't we hook up and do what we can for facilitating things here and work, because we're neighbors, Arkansas and Louisiana.
Right.
Yeah. We're both down at the southern parts of the state, but we're neighbors, so this is our region. We need to get things tight. And I think theologically, I wanted to ask you, But first, before I do that, I want to say it's 9 minutes past the hour, and you're with the Asafo Show, where Pan-Africanism meets African traditional spirituality with your host, Wole Mongo Ifa. Along with me this week are co-host Sister Omilade and Brother Eshulo Khan. And we're speaking with the Reverend James Lamb from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. The Reverend Lamb is the author of the book Black. He is also author of the books The Power to Change and The Revelation of Power. 2 other books that you need to look at seriously. Brother Lamb can be contacted on Facebook under an account under his name, James Lamb. He can also be reached. His books can be gotten online at Amazon and all of the big stores. And, oh boy, let me try this email address because I need to get it right. It's at, his email address is amenra7@sbcglobal.net. That's AMENRA7@sbcglobal.net. And Reverend Lamb, you were mentioning some things. Please keep going with where you were going at because it's all good. And when you get through with that, let's talk about the next station of life after the person who may have been convicted comes out and is readjusting. How about 10, 20 years down the line? What is the role of the elder today, especially in this crime-ridden situation? We are at war. Baba Barudi tells us this. Baba Mwalimu Barudi tells us this. He's always telling us this. How do we work together? How do we want to do it? What principles do we have laid down to actually do that? How much African stuff do we need to bring into the picture from a heritage point of view? And how much of this, idea about Africans don't like African Americans and African Americans don't like Africans do we need to deal with? Reverend Lamb, down in Arkansas, I understand you're in quite a historically unique town, Pine Bluff. Yes, go ahead.
The question, how much African information do we need to bring to the table? I think we need to bring every significant piece of information possible because, you, like I said before, you see the world through your mind, and the mind does not necessarily record information. What it records is images. Of course, there's an association of information along with it, but basically the mind is impacted by images. This is a part of the next book that I'm going to be writing. And that's why it's, like if you went into a group picture, the first thing you would look for in a group picture, you'd look for yourself. And when our children go to school, we're taught basically about other cultures, or we're taught about African American history after slavery. But we don't really get a picture of how great, how magnificent, how powerful, how inventive, how spiritual, how we were geniuses in mathematics and science and architecture. And as a matter of fact, I recently looked at a YouTube documentary where an African has now won a Pulitzer Prize because in African culture, the way the African idea of God unfolded is that it is a full part of the unified field theory, which Einstein died trying to figure that out, and yet we had already figured that out in Africa. I mean, that's how deep our ancestors are. And so without that kind of image creating our children and adults who have grown up with this imagery of the very people who have conquered us. We think of God, we think of a white God. We think of Moses, we think of somebody white. Every image, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, all these people that they have drummed into our mind, these are all people who are the image of the very people who have conquered and subdued us. So we have that imagery. No wonder we have been taught to be subservient. And until we address the slavery that is in our mind, we can't truly be free.
Ashe. Well put, Reverend. Reminds me of the work of Bell Hooks. She was very, very hot a decade or two ago. Wow. Bell Hooks, came out with about 10 books within that decade. Talking about the commodification of culture. She was talking about racism, sexism, the point where racism, sexism, and commodification intersect. They're selling all of our intellectual property and our style, but they're doing certain things to the sisters, and they're doing, certain more well-documented things to the brothers. And consequently, we're all under attack in our own little way.
The key is what you said in the very beginning of the program. I was listening about self, about everything must begin with self. And that's our problem. We don't love ourselves. We don't act like we love ourselves. We have an emotional attachment. But when it comes to the higher levels of love, such as honor, honesty, and loyalty, and trust, and truth, those levels have been invaded by the dominant culture through their enculturation of our mind. But that's where we're headed, is to a new picture of ourselves as community and as sons and daughters of the Most High, to interact in the way in which we should, that we are all trying to achieve a level of godhood and God-likeness. But we don't do that through our actions because our minds have been invaded. And you don't create with your spirit, you create with your mind. So you're absolutely right, especially in the beginning of the program, that self is the key. Our community, our love of self, our love of our own community, our love of our own history, our love of our own consciousness and our own creations is the very genesis of what we need to be able to create from there a new civilization that's worthy of envy of the world.
Ashe. And, and we're doing that each in our own way, but collectively and in an organized way. One of the people doing that is our Chief Jegna, Yuya Asananu, with his Sedulu House academic organization, which comes under his Anu Nation organizational umbrella. He's teaching because, he's making it, and he's made it very clear over and over. And I want to invite the Reverend to start catching not only this program, but the Foundational Friday show on with Yuya Asananu on Friday evenings. Because he is dealing with those things head on, not trying to go around them. We're talking about cultural way of lives that are relevant to today's situation. For instance, how can we have a meeting, just a regular meeting, if the only way we know how to organize a meeting is with Robert's Rules of Order? We need some basic understanding of things. We talk about extended family. We talk about the village, helping the individual. But in our village concept, we have polygamy historically. you talk about polygamy today, and most people think about sexual behavior and practices. They're not thinking about family units working together and doing everything else but sex, but they don't think about anything usually at all without thinking sexually when we talk about polygamy and African traditional systems. I'm saying this to be provocative. I'm not saying this to be pessimistic, because I'm not. I'm very optimistic. I know we're going through a transitional phase. I know New Orleans there's a renaissance going on there that's only now starting to emerge and be seen. That's been growing under that, rubble and stuff like that. And, New Orleans is a cultural center. And I think it's kind of leading in a new way we're all looking at things, a new reality, if you will. Doctor, in these last 5 minutes or so, I wanted to ask you, what do you feel strongly about that you want to tell the audience that you haven't been asked about? It may have not been brought up yet, but it might be something, something different. Or maybe it's not. Maybe the message is on point and it's being received, and it just needs to be re-articulated. But is there anything we haven't touched on that you would like to?
Well, this might sound a bit self-serving, but get the book, Black, because it says so much. It is a compendium of so much knowledge. I mean, I have heard such great feedback, even from Dr. Coleman, who is on Hidden Colors. He made several remarks about this book because it's transformative. It's not just inspirational. It's transformative. There's an illumination that happens with your mind. There's an aha moment where your whole dynamic, your whole paradigm of the way you think about the world is changed. There's a shifting, and you have a new mindset, and you can't do anything new unless you have a new mind, because that's what you do it with. So while it might sound self-serving, get the book, understand the information, and more importantly, give that information to your children. Spread that knowledge. It's not about me. It's not about the book. It is about us all gaining a new mindset so that we can more effectively deal with white racism and European domination of the world and its resources.
Ashe, and it is about the community. The Reverend is just helping provide a roadway, a path, an understanding to a war that has been declared on us. Whether if we want to accept it or not, it's how it is. So eventually, walls going to start caving in. We're going to start hearing the bombs exploding. But right now, we're still playing like ain't nothing going on. Reverend Lamb, please tell the audience before we go once again how to contact you, how to get copies of your latest book, Black, but also don't forget to let us know about the other books, The Power to Change, and...
well, all of those books, you can find links to all of those books at my website, which is www.recovery4me.com. That's recovery4me.com. It has links to all of the books that I have. Also, you can Google my name, James M. Lamb, and you'll have access to YouTube videos. There's radio broadcasts that I've done. There's interviews that I've done on television. You'll have access to those videos to get a broader view of my presentation about a number of subjects. Also, you can contact me, as was said, on Facebook. My email is amenra7@sbcglobal.net. And Of course, I give you my telephone number, 870-718-1053. And if you decide to talk to me personally, you can do that.
James Lamb, I keep wanting to call you Doctor. The Reverend James Lamb. We want to thank you so much for being our guest this weekend on the Asafo Show, for spreading the information and the love that you obviously have for the community, and that you're spreading and sharing with us through your new book called Black. Thank you, man, Reverend Lamb, and continued
thank you so very much.
Continued success in your journey, sir. We will be in touch.
Yes, we will. This is not the last time we'll be speaking.
Okay. All right, then. All right. Everybody's heard it, so we're all looking forward to it. Now, we want to remind our listening audience to please press the blue follow button underneath the title of the show on the Blog Talk page that you are now on, listening to the show. Right under the title called Asafo at the top, there's a blue follow button. Please hit that button so you can automatically be abreast of coming information, coming guests, coming show topics and series, and other information coming from the Asafo Show. And you'll get a nifty 90-minute pre-show email letting you know, hey, the show's about to come on, so do your thing. We also like to let you all know that we value you this week, and we look forward to having you with us. Join us next week and every week after that, always on Sundays at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock noon Central Standard Time, and, of course, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another exciting enrichment installment of the Asafo Show next week. We want to thank our guest co-host this weekend, Brother Eshu Lokan. Brother Lokan, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm glad you're still awake. I'm glad you're still awake over there. Things got quiet, huh?
No, I was just soaking in the information, man. It's very exciting. I'm here taking notes, and sometimes I can only do one thing at one time. So
I hear you.
Very, very informative.
We had a great time with you this month, and we look forward to next month, the first weekend of the month. That will be the time you come and visit us again. So until then, we look forward to all the adventures, you know, being our roving reporter out there for the month and keeping us filled in. So we look forward to it, bro. We look forward to it, and we thank you for it. Mo dupueo. Okay. And, of course, from the rest of us with the Asafo staff, Sister Omilade and myself, and all of the people with the Anu Nation and Spiritual Order and the Sidulu House and Yuya Asana Anu. We all want to thank you for being here this week. We wanted to ask you to make use of the information and help make a better community in the community we're living in. And until we see you next week, just want to say one thing to you. Odabo, y'all. Peace.
We thank you for your listening support and urge you to become an active participating member of the Anu community. Therefore, if you would like more information on Anu events and offerings, please sign up for our newsletter at anunation.org. That is ANUNATION.org. For all those listening, if you'd like to move closer to the calculations and fundamental understandings of the Anu Order, be sure to pick up the book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. If you desire a spiritual reading to help you map your current spiritual position in the face of the world and learn the greatest pathways for your fortune in this season, or you would like to become a student of the Anu Spiritual Order, you can go to saduluhouse.org. That is saduluhouse.org. If you would like to sponsor or advertise on this or any of our other broadcasts, please contact us at 1-800-ANEW-LIVING. That is 1-800-268-548464. Or email us at questions@anewnation.org. That is the word questions@anewnation.org. For more information about Orisha and Orisha products, you can go to orishareligion.com. That is ORISHARELIGION.com. A New Nation thanks you for your continued support. Be well.